one thing that team was lacking is they didn't have an off-lane player who you could put the game on and depend on and win you some Dota 2. And clearly Seb heard me, because then he got really mad, turned bright red, and absolutely destroyed that game.
Yeah, I mean, Sin, OG showed us the OG that we talked about throughout the TI, right? I mean, throughout all of TI. They showed us some of their own picks, and also this just in the face of adversity, coming back stronger than ever.
I'm just glad I'm still alive. That's all I can say after that game. My heart was actually really pounding during those last, I don't know, 20 minutes. So fortunately, we're still here. So that's good. No, I mean, that was actually a crazy game. That's probably the game of the tournament for me so far. Unbelievable how OG somehow seems to end up in every game of the tournament. And then they make the next one, and the next one, and the next one. They just have this unbelievable ability to come back from ridiculous situations. In this game, it looked so hard. And they play around these small little advantages that they get in the fight so well and just play the waiting game. They play these like 40-second team fights where they get 3 calls off, they get 2 or 3 tornadoes off, and they had the best talent in all of Dota 2 in this game. Let's not forget PL's 25 doppelganger talent truly made this game for them. So getting to that stage, I was looking at PL leveling up, I was like, oh, when he hits 25, this could get scary, and damn, it did. They could not kill him.
Yeah, that's been a consistent thing for OG as well, right? Like, we've talked about some teams losing the game in the laning stage. Maybe they just can't get enough out of it, but one thing about OG is that their draft will always have that late game powerhouse. Feels like every single time Anna will have at least some sort of an option to carry them through, and that PL was completely unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, this time, right, we always talk about certain players, and this time I think Anna definitely coming in strong for OG as just making plays around the map. And then we mentioned Seb as well, of course, pulling out the axe and making plays, turning that mid-game around for OG.
I mean, playing axe in this kind of game is very, very hard, where you're like pretty much the only disabler or initiator you have. So if you mess up with your call, pretty much your entire team is just like left without any options. And we have seen it a couple of times where they juked him and they completely lost the team fights. But when it really mattered, he came out strong, and I'm really impressed by his performance.
Yeah,
and let's not forget the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say we talked about the possibilities of that last pick, right? We're looking for that big Sunstrike play, but Thompson, this guy, he has, I think, virtually never played Exort Invoker. I mean, there wasn't even a recorded game that we could find where he had done it before, right? So this guy switched it up, went the Exort Invoker, and got the Sunstrike kills they needed to actually snowball that laning phase for Seb.
And I want to give props to whoever in that booth suggested the axe. Like, let's not forget that this hero hasn't been played the whole main event, I think. We haven't seen it a single time. Maybe it got picked once or twice in the groups as one of the least picked heroes of the whole tournament. And they find this game where they're like, okay, this is what we need. And we were looking for that creativity today. We've had multiple great creative picks from both teams, and now for the one final game, you've got to come up with that tournament-winning pick. And OG have shown they can do it, LG have shown they can do it. I have no idea what's coming our way. But
yeah, I mean, I think going into Game 5, it's really hard to tell. No one can really sit there and be like, I confidently know which team is going to play better, because both of them have shown us what they've got, right? PSG LGD showing us their form, right? Their cleanliness, them being stronger in the lanes, and then OG, the creativity and just making the special plays that they needed now and then. And then now we're one game away, Black, from finding a new champion. Yeah, I mean, the biggest doubt I've had with the OG lineup is going head-to-head with LGD, and they have an even draft. This game they had a really even draft, and they managed to come out on top. I don't know, how did they do it? Like we watched game 2 and 3, they got completely blown out.
I think the biggest difference between LGD and OG for me, I think OG are better at using buybacks. When I look across these games, it seems to be like the key thing that OG does better than every other team here is that they use these buybacks, and they have a very good understanding of how to outnumber their opponents, keeping track of what buybacks the enemy team has, and just use these to... They're not afraid of taking a fight where they use 3 buybacks to wipe the enemy team, because they've done their research. They know when it's worth it, how to do it, especially if they end up getting towers or Roshan. They come back in the game that way.
Yeah, it's no coincidence there have been like 4 games so far in the upper back from them that end in that exact same fashion, right? They understand how to abuse that mechanic of the buyback. It feels like they're doing it every single time. They grab these teams that look so crisp and always have this perfect execution, and they pull them down into the dirt of these like disgusting team fights. You have no idea what's happening, and there's like 50 of them. You can't kill them all. They had no solution. And when you roll around the dirt like that, eventually they come out on top in terms of the buybacks, and they somehow take the game.
Yeah, forcing them to play OG's game, right? Forcing their opponents to play OG's game. And let's talk about the buybacks a little bit. I mean, sometimes it feels like OG perhaps waits a little too long because they're trying to be too calculated around it. But when it matters, like you said, Sin, they're utilizing it perfectly to make sure they get a further advantage after the fight.
Yeah, I think this game, they knew that they had better late game. So if this PL really gets 6-0, won't really be able to lose fights too easily unless LGD plays it perfectly. But there was this one situation where Bloodseeker did not have buyback and he was dead for 50 seconds, and they actually did not try to press for a base push. So I was a bit surprised that they chose to play so safe. But I guess in the end it worked out for them because they do have the superior lineup.
Yeah, well, going into one last game, I mean, there's no speculation, right? One game now to determine who's going to win, who's going to be the champion, who's going to lift the Aegis of Champions. And PSG LGD, let's not forget, I mean, that last game was all about OG turning it around, but PSG LGD looked spectacular in games 2 and 3.
Yeah, I mean, the way they turned that game around, too, because at first it was going OG's way, right? And we were like, oh, okay, yeah, OG, they might actually win this game. Seb's going to control until these Sunstrikes, and then that one snowball save. Like, one of these big plays, we're looking for individuals to actually step up, right? FY makes that giant play up inside the Dire jungle near the Bounty Rune, turns around that fight, and suddenly the whole momentum is swinging the way of LGD, and that's when everyone was just like, okay, I guess this is it. I guess OG are finally done for. They ran out of magic, and somehow they just found in that late game.
All right, well, we're going to have a chance to catch our breath a little bit, obviously, just swimming in emotions here in the Rogers Arena. We're going to tune in with Casey, who's out in the stadium.
You guys asked for a game 5. You got it! All right, let me hear from everybody who thinks LGD is going to take it. Sorry, did I stutter? What about OG? Okay. I want to keep the hype going, okay? So I want everybody to just make as much noise as you possibly can. Let's try the wave one more time, starting with this section and going that way. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Go, 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 go! I can't hear you. There you go. Keep going. Don't drown. It's coming back. Here we go. Here we go. Take it. Keep going. Keep going. Oh, keep going. Don't let it die. All right, guys. High fives. Come on. Here we go. Why is it quiet? That is not appropriate grand finale behavior. Here it comes. Come on. Give some noise. Here we go. I didn't practice this. I might trip. All right. Are you hyped? Are you ready, Chobra?
Absolutely, Casey. I think the Rogers Arena is definitely ready for the next game. Thank you so much for tuning in with the fans. I mean, the energy in here, it was like we were in a gym and just doing kind of cheer practices back and forth between OG fans and LGD fans, right? Kind of split halfway down the line as well in the stadium, and both sides going crazy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're here in the arena, don't forget that after this next game, just one game left, once we have a new champion and they lift that Aegis, we will have that special edition of the Late Game Show live from the Queen Elizabeth Theater. It's not far, so if you're not from the area, just ask a friend or check your maps. You'll be able to walk there, and that will be with the winners of the Grand Finals, which will be a special treat, and some other guests as well. A live band, over 2,500 seats, first come, first serve. So let's celebrate here as we crown a new champion, and then we'll walk over together to the Late Game Show and celebrate further on a brand new international champion. So that should be an awesome treat for us to really wrap up TI8. I mean, this TI has been an international stories for sure, and I think this finals is the epitome of that.
We got one again, guys. Game 5.
Yeah.
It's not just that we got a game 5. I feel like these games just across all 4 of the games that we had so far were not like super one-sided or boring or anything.
No.
Like it was. That's what this OG team does. Even when they're behind, you always have that feeling like it's never over. It's never over. That's their mentality too. So when we're like, oh, it's over, we're like correct 33% of the time maybe, and the other times it's not over, and actually a lot of them OG do come back in. So for me, this is like outstanding. If you think back to TI3, a lot of the games in that grand final best of 5 were actually pretty one-sided. The first games of the series were very quick, going both ways, and then the 5th game was obviously incredible. So I just hope we get that again here.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we'd wind up with another scenario there in terms of like the team who has the Earthshaker is going to win, much like back then the team that has the Eye
Well,
was
we
just
did have
going to
that.
win. Yeah, and it started like that,
and then it was banned.
And I thought, uh-oh. But now we've somehow found a place where you can get the same hero on both sides, as both teams had a PL last game, so that was pretty entertaining. training. Just itemize identically, just play up against each other. Turns out Anna's is quite a bit better.
That was the deciding factor probably in that matchup.
Got the CD talent.
Yes, that was a slight edge to have that
Obviously, the
on your
replica doesn't have that. Yeah. So.
No.
If Morphling had that talent,
that would be.
Then they win.
That would be fun.
Yeah,
that would be really fun.
It'd be nuts to watch and follow. But there we have it. OG coming up, tying it up 2-2. One game away. Game 5. Let's talk to me a little bit about what does it mean to have a Game 5 here at TI8? I mean, we're celebrating both teams at this point, no matter who you are, because people kind of they jokingly ask, like, oh, it'd be great to watch Great Dota 3-2. Well, now you have it, Black.
Yeah, I underestimated them like all the way through the winner bracket. Even in the final, I thought LGD has the upper hand in like all 3 games. Of course, in game 1 they managed to come out on top in the end. But I am a doubter no longer. After the last game, I'm convinced.
You can't be.
Oh yeah, I mean, 50-50. I don't really care anymore who wins.
I
just want to see good
50-50.
Dota.
Wow, great panel, guys. Want me to just
really
flip
breaking
a
it
coin
down
while we're at it here? That sound good?
Oh,
I
man.
don't know. We had something new last year, right? A 3-0. Not exactly what you want. So happily, we'll be getting ourselves the only second ever Game 5.
And if
all these 3-1s. That's what we're
and
used
if
to.
that game 5, Na'Vi Alliance is any indicator for this game, then we're in for a treat.
Yeah, and I think we know that we will be, right, given how these two teams play. We talked about their styles countless times, but they match up so well to create interesting scenarios within the game, and every game itself seems to be kind of a story and a novel on its own, and usually it is about, can OG find a way back, and half the time they have so far. So 2-2, we'll find out how it goes Game 5. Trent, your thoughts going into Game 5, last game of this TI?
I think we've talked a lot about emotions throughout a lot of TI, right? Especially when it comes to all those 2-0s we had to start the whole bracket, right? We often talk about how you lose that first game and suddenly it's just like, oh man, you're coming in a little defeated and you're like, okay, this is it, guys. You might be completely eliminated from TI right now. And then suddenly they just lose. And it's 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. Lost out on a lot of first blood chests. Condolences to our fans that are here. But now that emotion suddenly comes back, right? Where OG, you got to be feeling better coming in this game. Surely that's got to be a hard game to shake off if you're on the side of LGD, because you really feel like it. One.
Yeah. Wow. Really got it.
Thank you, Sid.
The emotions are still running through Sid a little bit.
He's all choked up. I don't know. I can't get anything out of him.
You okay there, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay. Good to hear. Good to hear. As long as you can answer that question, we're good. You know what I think is interesting is it's also not a complete reverse sweep we're looking into, right? So momentum, you can't really argue, is on either side as well. Well, Rogers Arena, do you hear that rumble? We're getting ready to see our teams enter once again. PSGLGD going for a championship title. They were leading 2-1. And lost game 4. Now they're looking for redemption in one single last game. And then you have OG coming in strong, breaking all the expectations and predictions, and taking us to a Game 5. I think Odie put it perfectly in that this scenario that we live in today is really the end, the climax of a series of just unexpected results. And to see this matchup in a Game 5 is truly spectacular.
And this is when the one thing is the emotions that Trent talked about, but the other one, from a strategic standpoint, you're playing one last game. There is the risk that now you really start overthinking particular matchups or specific aspects of the game, and you can end up almost in a way counterpicking yourself. This is something that we've seen from losing teams across all of TI's history and all Dota tournaments history, is that sometimes you adjust in the wrong way, and that's the one thing you don't want to do in this game, is to make those wrong adjustments. So that's why the coaches, I think, are really important. They're more level-headed probably. They watched it from outside the booth. They got to see all the things that when you're playing these games, you don't see everything that's happening in the same way as somebody from the outside does. So I think it's really important for both teams. Of course, OG are feeling really happy after that win, but they probably still need to cool down and get down to earth, because they could also make the same mistake of being overconfident in something.
The crowd cheering on with OG as they finish their huddle in the booth. We've talked a lot about those outside resources, right? The coaches and even the captains and how they rally around the team. And I think, obviously, PSG LGD perhaps needing that a little bit more after such a tough loss in Game 4.
Yeah, I mean...
What did you do after the loss like that, Black?
After a loss like that...
I know you had a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, I never went to game 5 in the first place.
Not quite the same, huh?
No, but like if you lose like that, it's rough. Usually, it's best if you have an outside person to talk to you, because everyone in the team is probably very emotional, like all 5 of the players. So hopefully the coach managed to like calm them down a little bit, because they're gonna need 100%. Like 95% won't cut it anymore. Have to play all they have on the table.
Just slam down on. Don't break our battle yet. The show has one more game to go.
At this point, actually, I think you can go for it.
All right. Well, we'll think about it.
It's a pretty good condition still. So.
Of course, I mean, we saw that here, too, as we've had the coach interviews, right? Both 357 and Paracel going, kind of being lighthearted as they come out, still being able to keep that calm. And I think over the years as well, as we've gotten more insight into teams and how they function, it's been very clear that in the middle of a series, teams are still able to regroup around coaches or managers or other kind of resources they have. But now it's one single game. You have to put everything on the line between these two teams. Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready for the last game of TI8. One last draft, one last game, and then we will have a new champion, a new team walking up to the Aegis to lift it up here in Vancouver. You see OG still running through the last details. No Tail and Seb having a little bit of a conversation back and forth. Of course, as we've discussed on the PSG side, 357, the coach will be kind of managing and leading the draft almost entirely on his own.
What do you think they're talking about?
OG.
Yeah.
Well played, man.
Well played. I don't know.
Well played, man.
I think they have enough time.
I mean, 10 minutes after, like, by the way, well played. Didn't quite get to tell you that during the last game. I mean, what do you talk about when it's like this? When you know it's one game left, right? It's not about, hey, just win one more game and then another. This is literally now back to being a best of one in either scenario.
I think you talk about your openers and your overall strategy, and just like if there's anything from the last game that you really hated, things that you don't want to play against, or things you really liked. I mean, some players, of course, maybe you get a little bit shook. You lose some game on a hero, even if it's one of your favorites. Perhaps you just don't feel like the confidence on it that you might need.
Black just looks at me and laughs. Like, I don't know what.
God, you guys are so useful.
I don't know what to do anymore with this.
Ladies and gentlemen, the good news is the draft is about to get underway. So Rogers Arena, give it up as we face the last game of the grand final at the International.
PSG LGD versus OG. Grand Finals Game 5.
Game 5. One last game. One game in between either of these teams and the Aegis. OG versus PSG LGD. And it looks like OG will have the second pick, PSG LGD having that first pick. As we go through the band to the Spectre Man and Tiny Man, quite familiar by now in this best of 5.
So before we get into the bans and picks too much here, I want to quickly talk about how I feel like in some way when you look at these two teams, if you remember, OG have been in this situation before with both No Tail and Ana. They had a similar situation with OG at the Kiev Major, I think it was, when they made a ridiculous comeback against Virtus Pro. I believe that was a game 5.
Game 5, yep.
I think, was that a reverse sweep, actually? I don't remember entirely how that series went down. I think VP were up 2-0, and OG took 3 games in a row.
Yeah.
Or something. That's how I remember it anyway. So they have that mentality, and I think it's incredible to see Ana, who was out of the scene for a bit. He took a break for personal reasons. He comes back and is like he was never gone.
Yep.
In these high-pressure matches, this guy just delivers.
And look at the respect there from PSG LGD. How many late-game heroes can this guy play? Well, they're looking to find one more.
OG are laughing.
Yeah. I don't blame them. Because think about what's being opened up here now, right? Like that Weaver, one of the most important heroes in the game right now, I would say.
Now that Lancer's banned out, OG's response compared to last game is they banned the Drow, because now both of the counterpick carries that you will generally see against the Drow Ranger, both Spectre and PL, are out of the pool.
Yeah, and despite her not really making an appearance here, you can see very level-headed drafting too.
Yeah.
Just like keeping that on your mind.
What are we expecting from Ana then? Most of his wins are on Spectre or PL. What is like his...
More fling.
More fling.
They could IO Gyro if that ends.
IO Gyro, yeah.
Last game, Ember. Let's go.
Last game Ember.
Finally, the people
They're not
calling.
getting IO Gyro, though. I'm pretty convinced that LGD will grab the IO if it's in the pool.
I think Ember is not the right hero for Anna in a 5th game in a grand final like this. He's usually the game closer, and Ember is more like the enabler for another hero to close out the game. So,
Well,
I
if
hope
the
it
games
surprises
keep
us.
going 60 minutes, Black, then Ember is a pretty good late game hero.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. So I think Morphling is definitely a hero to look out for. As we've seen both teams play it, OG play it in 2 lanes. They will ban the IO. So I think this could be a first pick Venge, or maybe they steal the Chen X-Nova.
The Earthshaker, I was going to ask. I mean, it's still in this time, and now we see PSG LGD taking it first.
Do we go back for things like this Wraith King Willow? I do think it's very strong.
Isn't the game just over?
I mean, so far, if stats don't lie, the game is over here because of that Earthshaker, of course, played an integral part in the past couple matches.
This time, however, LGD will not be getting it with their Enchantress because they banned that themselves. So
That's true.
What about something like a Silencer?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, the Silencer goes through again as well.
Silencer will more than likely be grabbed for no tail in this game, unless he wants his Chen. He needs to make up his mind here. I think he might be thinking Chen isn't the ideal solution just because Shaker can kind of counteract the early aggression against that hero. Oh, the Furon's in too.
Yeah, it's been bad.
There are so many heroes that got through now.
Yeah, because they focused on that late game against Ana. Now No Tail's hero pool was wide open. The Nature's Prophet coming in.
7-0 on the Earthshaker.
The numbers are starting to point in one direction.
7-0. Could it be 8-0? Lucky number TI8.
Oh,
Everything's lining up here.
7-1 combo breaker. At the final.
Possible.
Then they would have the same win rate. Jarek's is 7-1 on Shake.
That is
earlier that are still left open because of this, right? Because of these unique bans that are now
this draft alone. Well, with the Nature's Prophet, are we still thinking about some of the heroes we mentioned earlier that are still left open because of this, right? Because of these unique bans that are now coming out.
Silencer is definitely still on Shaker too. If you guys play Shaker,
There you go. PL, Shaker, Shaker. The Nature's Prophet, right? It's just like the Enchantress, the exact same.
Listen, LGD will pick Morphling.
What about we?
He will take Morph target's allies, and then they will have 2 Shakers.
Which is better than 1 Shaker.
Then they win 2-1.
Impact.
But now, listen, LGD will pick Morphling.
What about we?
He will take Morph target's allies, and then they will have 2 Shakers.
Which is better than 1 Shaker.
Then they win 2-1.
Okay. Fair.
The battle of
Just
the
wait
Shakers.
until it happens.
Thank you. Thank you
Just
for
wait.
pointing
All
that out.
right.
Just wait until it happens.
But yeah, the Weaver still being in. I think that's pretty strong, right? Because they want this Nature's Prophet because he's a bully in the lane. That means you can get away with someone who's a little bit weaker, like this Rubik. So you want someone who's strong enough to sustain these bully lanes. Weaver or Clinks, which is something that's been missing, and LGD played exceptionally well with that Earthshaker throughout the tournament with.
Yeah, true.
That's if they plan to pick the core early.
Rubik's good against Weaver too, though. You give him an extra,
that's true.
an extra good opponent to steal from.
Hasn't worked out too well for the teams that picked the Rubik into the Weaver.
I think Rubik generally just has a bad win rate.
Yeah.
I would say. So.
Earthshaker's finally figured it out.
He's just baiting the crowd.
He's waiting.
He's changing his mind all the time. All right.
The Terrorblade.
Terrorblade. That's super early for a Terrorblade too.
Yeah, well, there's not that many late game heroes that the teams play, so might as well grab it early here for LGD.
Okay, so what's for Ana? You said Morphling?
Morphling. They're going to ban Morph, I would think, but maybe not actually.
I think it's like from a carry's perspective, I think it's very scary to play Morphling against a Shaker. Because you always want to be somewhat low health, and if you ever jump to, you just die immediately. If you don't have a combo breaker.
Same thing.
The matchup against Terrorblade is good though, right?
Morph against Terrorblade?
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's good.
It's a
Before
good
it was
matchup.
Because
pretty
you just
bad,
get meta and you turn back into Morphling.
Yeah, and you also get reflection when you turn into it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a pretty good
matchup is good. Just the
this Shaker
instant
is
stun is
actually-
very Shaker.
I think it's going to be hard to find a carry where you're like, this carry is great against Shaker. It's part of the strength of the heroes. Having an instant stun is just amazing, and having a stun that can catch from fog, so you're never really safe, is also amazing.
The only way to really survive it is if you're tanky enough, which most hard carries are not.
And you don't want to pick Wraith King into Terrorblade. That would be a tanky carry.
Yeah, or
but we
Lifestealer.
haven't seen Ana play it.
Makes
Yeah,
no sense.
nobody plays Lifesteal Black.
That
Don't
is
even
true.
suggest it. It's not a hero,
Sorry.
especially into Terrorblade.
Especially the Terrorblade, yeah.
Come on,
out,
Black.
partner out.
Come on, man.
Sorry, dude.
Arc Warden would have been another pick OG could have gone for.
That
Yeah,
would have been
that's
their
true.
double Necro strat possibly again too, right? With
Right.
the bubbles versus the Terrorblade. Seemed to thoroughly enjoy that. I like OG banning out the Storm Spirit. I think that's something that they probably were going to look for. Again, just mega comfort pick, just like the Terrorblade for LGD, and someone who can go around that map and stop and just kind of feed off of this Nature's Prophet trying to split push.
What about the Thompson Zeus this game. Good against Shaker.
True.
Good against Terrorblade.
Okay.
Definitely a hero to look out for.
And Storm is banned out, of course.
Yeah.
So
Zeus
jumping on
could
him
end
is
up
gonna be
being
hard.
really good. They also have the Nature's Prophet, so they have a bit of a global strat going on. Could definitely see
And
that being
Rubik
a
to
nice-
also amplify the spell damage that comes
Yep.
out of him.
Do you think your lanes will be strong enough though?
It depends what
Definitely.
you.
I mean,
end up
Zeus
facing.
mid is not weak, right? He's very strong now with like the 70 damage over 1. It's like
He
quite
does
good.
well in quite a few matchups nowadays.
Yeah.
He's not really that much of a lane winner, except mainly against melee mids that we don't really see too many of.
Yeah.
So another hero that maybe OG could look toward here would be an Alchemist for Ana. We haven't really seen him play it that much, but he used to play that back in OG as well, in the old OG. Back in OG.
Back in
That was
OG.
the Kiev Major, right? It was the
Yep.
Alchemist that.
Alchemist was definitely
Every
a hero.
game.
But Terrorblade has a pretty good matchup against Alchemist.
Yeah.
He's one of the tankier ones against Shaker, though. So
They usually use, if people take Alk, you can send the Terrorblade mid because he's like so much armor that you don't even care about the assets.
Sure.
But
Oh,
banned
they,
Alchemist.
they banned
Oh,
Alchemist.
okay.
I think OG feels very uncomfortable if they do not have the better late game. So if they were to pick like an Alchemist, Magnus, there we
That's
go
one
with the
way to
late
better
game.
late game.
So
Yeah.
this is a
There we go with the
no-tail.
late game.
This is going to be a no-tail prop then and not Seb. Jerax on the Rubik
Yeah.
and Seb on his Magnus.
The lanes look pretty weak right now, though. Like Rubik lane is not very strong, and the Magnus lane itself is also not very strong.
Oh.
Something that I've noticed that OG like to do when they have the Magnus is they like to play this 1-2 off lane where they both have wave clear and they just push the wave.
Yeah.
They cast their nukes on both heroes, they drain their regen, and then they try to out farm. So they have both Shockwave and Fade Bolt.
And they always get a ranged hero too to use the
Yep.
Empower because it's more abusive in the lane. It's not as good for cleaving creeps and everything, but you just get this bonus damage, you harass.
Yep.
And they could potentially do it with like the Rubik and the Magnus, and then when Prophet's ready, he just TP's in it and that tower's just gone.
They can
Very
overwhelm
quick
the safe
sweep
lane.
of the lane.
Yeah.
They do
And-
lack a lot of damage right now, though.
Yeah,
Well-
but Silencer is no D push, and neither is Earthshaker in the laning phase.
Yeah, there's going to be some wave clear for LGD's next picks for sure. But I do want to say, even though they don't have the most physical damage, still sustained magic harassment is actually pretty annoying for Terrorblade to deal with in lane. That's the one thing. He has low health pool but has high armor.
It's actually worse for
So,
him.
yeah.
There it is.
Oh.
The
Go for
counter.
the Ember.
Okay, but you're
Alright.
playing against Silencer and Earthshaker. That's pretty bold.
That hasn't stopped
bold.
Ana before.
It's true.
So it's Anna Ember confirmed 100%.
It could be Thompson still, but I think Ana is just... He's better on the hero, so it depends on what they think is the greater good in the end when they look at all the possible lane matchups they can get, who they place on it.
So this is physical Ember for sure, right? Having a Magnus.
Most
more than likely.
You can go a hybrid build. So what OG did a lot in the European qualifiers when they had Mag Ember was that Ember went to Maelstrom first, and then they had this really nice mix of damage where you're empowered, so you have a lot of physical damage. You get a 25 damage talent on level 10, and then you have the Maelstrom for faster wave clear and mixed damage type in fights. And then late game you can choose. You can go either direction when you go Maelstrom first. So definitely think that is a solid choice here. I mean, I'm really happy we get to see an Ember Spirit in this last game from OG. I think this is the perfect hero to go out on, win or lose.
I really hope they
is-
put it middle, though. Personally, I feel Ember is very strong against Kunkka in the lane. Also, in the game, it's very hard to catch him. Like, when we played the C qualifier, whenever we saw Kunkka, we immediately snatched an Ember to lane against it. Just he can't remove your Flame Guard at all.
Right.
And it's very easy to actually kill him. And
Now-
it's very hard for him to kill you.
A lot of teams will put the Earthshaker mid versus the Ember, right? And try and abuse that.
And then the
That
support
Probably not
Don't
going to happen
happen
here
this
in
game.
Game 5, I'm thinking, but
I mean, FY Shaker is
Virtus
pretty good. You don't want to give up.
I think I still have a feeling that if this is a Kunkka versus Ember matchup mid, the Kunkka is going to win because I think the SCA qualifier that you think back to was Kunkka in the same state that he is now with the damage on Tidebringer and denies.
Yep.
yeah, he was
It's the
just
same
fun.
one. It's just like
I have
2
a
months ago.
hard time seeing Somnus losing this lane, but I'm ready to be blown away by this matchup. In my mind, Ember should not stand a chance against Kunkka until he gets a couple of levels up in terms
Alright.
of kill power. So
We'll see about
we'll
that.
see.
Yeah,
We'll see
we'll
who's
find
right.
out. And we'll find out where that Ember goes as well, of
LGD
course.
fanboy.
OG having that last pick. PSG LGD looking to round out their composition.
Off lane Chalice hero.
There's still Weaver.
There's still Weaver.
Oh, yeah.
Ember doesn't want to deal with the bug, really.
What else is there? That
But then
Chalice
again,
likes
it's
to
into the Rubik, so it still feels awkward.
play? Beastmaster.
That would be a flashback.
I think the Wraith King seems like a pretty nice choice in this game for Chalice, just because you want someone who can go in first and try to force RP or some sort of response and then build around that in the fight.
Bat
Okay, this
Rider.
was not what I was expecting. But
Bat
still,
Rider.
it's similar logic. It's somebody who goes first. Like, they need somebody to jump, and then they can follow up with Global Silence and take the fight like that. Either they get a quick kill, or they force an RP in response, and then they global. depending on how they look at it. This obviously gives OG the option to counterpick the bat in lane.
Jeez, they might even think about Jug, I guess. I mean, I know they just banned it. We're considering it. Would fit with that kind of their push strat too, but
yeah, he goes Battle Fury and kills everything.
Yeah, that's what Pastorell says.
Really good.
It must be solid.
Anna always played the Ember safe lane in the qualifiers, right? Or did he play it mid too?
I think every time it was mid, it was Thompson, and they did that once or twice. But Anna always played it in the safe lane, as far as I can remember. But that's one thing about this Bat Rider. This is a matchup that Ember hates in lane, so they're gonna try.
Well, there's the Zeus.
Okay. All right.
I think they
OG back to qualifiers. Same strat.
There you go.
I thought you were flaming the final pick.
The #1 strat of their qualifier run, Zeus, Ember, and Mag. These 3 heroes, they picked a lot, and they were dominant. So this will be exciting.
Well, go back to what you know, and it's one game on the line. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the final game of the grand final, and therefore the final game here at the International 2018. The draft is ready. Earthshaker is on PSG LGD's side, but we'll see how Destiny unfolds this time.
I feel like Chalice is going to have such a good game.
Exciting for sure. I mean, kind of unique conversations as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear from both coaches this time as we get ready for the last game.
All right, guys, so we figured we would take advantage of the fact that this
because this is what we did so far, right? The only thing that we were thinking about is if we pick Lina or Zeus in the end, and we had a little struggle there because like we need to be a Dobson hero that is like comfortable. Lina has like disabled. Zeus is kind of bad against Kanka because you get caught. You know, we don't have a proper save, and we want.
怎么样？
我觉得就是这个宙斯这个点，如果能处理好就还好吧。宙斯这个点蛮克 TB 的。
If we can take off the Zeus, then we're all good because Zeus is a counter against Terrorblade.
confidence level.
自信心满吗？自信心满度。
很有自信，可以的。
Very confident. We can.
Confidence level.
Over 9,000.
Thank you very much, KC. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Game 5 of the TI8 Grand Finals between PSG LGD and OG. And it all starts right here. Boys, what do we reckon about this final draft from both teams that we're going to see in this Game 5?
Setting. I'm still resetting, honestly.
Oh man, Game 4. Whew, what a game. But here in this Game 5, yeah, we have the Zeus versus Terrorblade, first place Terrorblade. Not really vulnerable to that many. Zeus and, one of the best. I don't think Thompson particularly fantastic, but Zeus the other day was fantastic.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to, in particular, just a lot of ults. Of course, if they can get if they can make the Magnus go. That's the big thing I'm looking for, OG. Can they actually enable this Magnus? Can he enable their corners as well? And how much can they make in this bottom lane?
Dude, Seb has been spamming that hero.
He has been.
Plays Magnus nonstop. This team is really good about capitalizing on these RPs. Normally there's like, that 1 second delay. It's like, oh, he RP'd. But I think with Seb on the Magnus, they know when it's going to happen.
This top lane should be extremely difficult for OG. This Bat Rider, unless he gets really pressured by the early treants, should be able to have a really good time versus Ember and Nature's Prophet. He just run them down with the fissure to get some stacks up. Mid matchup, I think Somnus should be able to have a fine time. I mean, they can even have a kill threat on rotations, but Thompson also shouldn't get killed by himself by any means as a Zeus.
No, we should expect to see Thompson have a much better time against Somnus compared to when he was playing his Invoke.
Absolutely.
I think this game, the team fight is very even on both sides. So you have the Magnus on one side, you have the Silencer to counter it, you have the Bat Rider, but he's only single target relative to a huge amount of AoE damage coming out from OG. So I think these lineups are fairly even.
Yeah, the thing I like about OG's draft is they have, the one thing I always look at when you're playing versus a Silencer is a way to get vision of where that Silencer is in the team fight. So they've got the Zeus ability to do that, and then they can pierce the backlines with an Extra Spirit to get on top of it. So that can be pretty nuts for them. But as LGD, they do have a lot of ways of initiating fights. They have their Kuka to start it, and then they have the follow-up with Global, Batrider, and Earthshaker. It's a lot of ways to actually initiate and counter-initiate.
I mean, Kuka has also been maybe his best hero this tournament. He has just been destroying on that. And it is a pretty easy lane for Zeus, but actually even in CS.
Yeah, I think his Kunkka and his Storm for me have been unbelievable. We'll probably see a similar build that he's been doing on that Kunkka. Maybe not double bracer, but at least one of those bracers, and this time it's gonna go for like the magic wand. X. Heavy harass. We'll be
A lot of potential for X-Nova this game to have a huge impact. We've seen from the silencers through this competition so many times these sort of big team fights put to a halt. You've got to be careful if you're this Ember or if you are, of course, Seb on the Magnus in terms of holding on to the RP in top lane. Bit of a block off here onto Ana. He's got the stick charges. He does have 3 stacks of sticky napalm upon him as Chalice diving in. Gets that first blood. Tanks up a bit of the tower, but he's able to get his way out of it. It's PSG LGD. Off to a strong start in this top lane.
Yeah, a little bit of a risky move by Noto. He TP'd, but he didn't TP back home. He TP'd to pull away. And Ana was let out there by his lonesome.
They have to go for those type of kills constantly in the top lane. Because Batrider, you don't really last hit that great in the laning phase. You're just going to get your last hits through your Firefly, which are just do some stacks and whatnot. So they have to play very aggressive up clear whenever they see an opportunity if Ana steps up too far. Bottom lane going very well. Seb is doing a great job with that Empower. They're really messing with his last hits with the Fade Bolt as well. You see he's got that massively reduced damage. He's sitting at 40 compared to Seb's 80. So it's just making it that much easier for the Magnus to put the pressure onto Ame.
Yeah, the Quelling Blade can only do so much for him. And next Nova, I mean, he doesn't have any points of Blaze of Wisdom, and he can't really harass Seb. Magnus is actually surprisingly tanky in lane. Yeah. Really hard to harass out.
Ame's going to use the Metamorphosis to try and catch up in the CS. Get a bit of harass onto Jax and Seb if possible. And try and close that gap between himself and Seb as you talk about. Seb with that lead. Second highest in CS level with his Ember Spirit at the moment.
This is not an easy Magnus game, by the way. As soon as he jumps in, he can get lifted, or he can get lassoed, he can get fissured, he can get echoed. There's so many counterplays, especially Global Silence. So I wouldn't feel super comfortable as a Magnus. You really want someone else to jump in, like the Ember.
Top steps up a bit far. Mid lane, FY as well as Somnus, they're catching on him. There's boots on that shaker.
They should have the catch here with the fish up into the X-Mark Torrent combo. They've caught Thompson. Will he dodge the Ancients? He won't. Somnus gets the hit in. Tidebringer, he has the damage to claim the second kill here for PSG LGD.
FY has been doing a really good job controlling both the runes. 2-minute rune, he got the haste, 4-minute rune. Make sure that Zeus can't get it. He did rush a bottle and won't be able to get that regeneration rune that is generally a lane rune for the Zeus.
Now FY's got it, so he can even keep his pressure on this map. At the moment, he's getting close to Arcane Shaker. It's Jarex.
Oh.
In some trouble here.
Bishop Block not quite successful, but it doesn't look like it may matter with the damage coming out between the two of them. Slow from the curses.
Still
in he goes. FY one more slam with the totem.
Full mana.
They're trying to go around maybe and get a kill on Chalice up here, but it doesn't matter. The Shaker's there or not, they can't get the kill.
Bounty Runners. They're going to be the ones to claim it.
Top lane, a bit of a dive going on to Ana. He's got 5 stacks at the moment on it. No tail will TP, and Chalice is tanking quite a bit of the tower. Stick charges there from Ana. He's moving. As Ana will be fine there. I don't think, well, look at the Chalice. Check the stick charges on Ana as he was A-okay. Mid lane at the same time. Thompson getting gone on. FY's there with the combo. Helping out Somnus secure that kill onto the Zeus.
You kind of expect this from Zeus because he dies doesn't mean the lane's going poorly. It's actually kind of expected, I would say. But really, he'll just contribute later on in the team fights. He's not quite level yet.
I mean, that one death that he did have, it does start to hurt because you get that level disadvantage.
FY again.
FY making those moves all over the place.
Absolutely. Setting up for another kill here as they chase down Jerax. More +2 for to top lane as well. Chalice runs down Ana. It's 6-1. The kill starting to really build up in this first 6 minutes of gameplay from PSG LGD.
They don't have a real good way to protect their Ember Spirit in that top lane. If anything, they need the Rubik to pull that aggressiveness that's coming out from Chalice off of him.
And they're not slowing down this Earthshaker's farm at all. He has 500 gold and Arcane Boots. If he early blink, I mean, I'm really scared for OG.
Yep.
Now Seb
is in a lot of trouble here too.
He is. They're coming, looking for him in the trees. FY's there, ready for him, waiting for him.
He was right on.
3-0-3 on this Earthshaker already at the 6.5-minute mark.
The Shaker, we've seen it not only in this finals, but throughout the whole tournament. FY, one of, if not the best Shaker in the game at the moment. And he's certainly showing it here in the game, where it all counts the most. Trying to set up, buying time for No-Tail to come through. Somnus does get the boat out, but he's already dead. Thunder God's Wrath from Thompson will burst him down. They did send 4 heroes in for this one though, OG. Seb also joining in the middle lane.
I mean, they get the Kunkka kill, which is great, but now Ame's just got an open lane to himself. Now there's no pressure being put on this Tower Blade at all. Actually recovered really well. 36 and 14 last hits.
Yep, and they spend a Zeus ult too, so not too much kill potential on the side lanes. They still have that double.
In range there to dispel the smoke straight up. Jax.
Jax is pulling an X-Nova right now. Hey, just smoke through with just putting down some words, getting ready for the next movements that are coming out.
And again, Somnus having a very scary start to the game. He's top on the CS. We saw what he was able to do with a good opening in his Kunkka earlier in this series. And so far, he's on the right track to offering a repeat performance.
Also has to be careful, not only the pull, but the curse. The curse really hurts Zeus.
It's true.
Especially because it's been buffed so many times.
Anna, level 6 here, as a remnant.
A little out of his best to find kills now. To have that so up, as No-Tail, he's been found out. He'll pop the Sprout down, but it'll be cut through by Somnus as another kill for Somnus in that middle lane.
Yeah, he blindly trying to steal the room. Yeah. He did get the region.
They do send Thompson down here. A bit of harassment onto Ame. Ame's behind the tower. Instant TP comes in from FY as well, so OG can't dive.
They can't put a lot of pressure on the Tower Blade here though, with the Zeus as well as that Shockwave coming up from that Magnus. They can't slow down his front of it and that reaction from LGD at least.
Look at this, 8.5 minutes in. Somnus doing a lot of damage to this mid-tier 1 tower. The pressure that he's putting on, incredibly impressive in this middle lane.
They really can't afford to give up this tower right now. I think both the Shaker and the Batrider, they're on their way to their blinks. That tower is going to make it that much easier.
Top lane Chalice, playing around with that. He's holding on to Lasso for now. Now he'll pop it, feeling that he's got the damage to do the kill. And the charge back up, able to get away mid lane. Seb comes in with a rotation, pops the RP down onto Somnus. They've got the bird. The setup's there. Takes 4 of them, but it does get them the kill on Somnus. And with sort of a happy he was, it did look like they did need all 4 to get that kill.
I think Somnus did spend his gold before he died. Pretty close to all of it. He does have his face with.
I mean, those kills start that up. No, you know, they have the heroes, but it's time off the map, right? That's where 10 more seconds with a Kunkka's not there to be threatening kills all over the place, and Thompson gets a little bit of a break on the Zeus to not have to worry about dying.
And they're focusing on him because they know they can deal with the Terror Blade with the Zeus later if it gets to that point of the game. So if they had to choose in between these 2 cores, it's definitely going to be the Kunkka.
Jared. FY goes for the setup. The Fisher into the combo. Torrent will be dodged. No-Tail's actually going to TP in for this one as Somnus beats down onto Jax. Jax able to get himself. He's not! The Tidebringer from Somnus finds the kill. FY walks in for the echoes down. The silence is there on Seb. Seb's coming to the fight, but he's instantly going to get sent out with a slap as FY chunks him down with the Enchant Totem. As No-Tail also in trouble. Chalice diving on forward. Kill after kill. Anna, can he do anything in return? He comes in with the slide. The Remnant as well, looking for X-Nova and Splinter. He can't quite finish it off, and Ame, he's turned up, and he'll be able to take down Anna.
What a collapse by LGD. Even how does Ame just show up there?
12-3 now, and a 3K lead very early on for PSG LGD.
Look at this item build coming out. Chalice too. I thought he was going for a Blink Dagger, but it looks like he has Atos queued up and he keeps switching it up, but Atos to deal with the Ember?
Yeah, that could be pretty cool.
That's going to be pretty nasty. I mean, that's so much disable versus him. I think this is because FY's having such a great game. They can rely on him to initiate the fight.
He's so close to the Blink Dagger.
And it makes him incredibly tanky on this Batrider. If he just charges in and get a fissure, the follow-up afterwards, he's going to have that blink so early on. Definitely be an interesting approach. You can just catch out all the line.
Jerax shows himself mid, but they've got the catch ready to deal with him. X-Mark into the combo. Jerax, another casualty here in the middle lane for OG. It's PSG LGD. They want to finish off this tower. EPs are coming in. Seb, we have the damage here to help bring this man down. He'll pop the RP. He's not messing around. Orin comes out. Chapman will still fall though. OG get the kill. Again, cost them a lot. If they keep that tier 1 alive, they can look for the deny.
Yeah, they can secure the deny. Beneficial here. But as all this is happening, is not getting pressured, and FY pretty much has that Blink Dagger, but they do have the Zeus counterpunch that a bit.
It's a scarily quick Blink Dagger here for FY. We've already seen what he can do. He's 4-0-6 at the moment, at 11 minutes in on his Shaker.
With Arcane Boots, this has to be one of the fastest Blinks I've ever seen.
In Game 5 of the Grand Finals, nonetheless, as well. FY
4-0-6 already.
And he's ahead of Seb. Seb also going for the same build, the Arcane Boots into the Blink Dagger, but he's going to be a few minutes behind. And I don't see any smoke on the side of LGD, but let's see where they...
Wow.
12-minute Blink Arcanes on FY.
Nahaz is probably losing it back there.
Echo stand back up in a couple of seconds as well, as he'll look to set up top of the moment. No one up there on OG.
He can look to set up pretty easily now for Ana all over the place. Ana is very easily killable with +1 with that Earthshaker. And they even have the global on top if they need to commit even more, so...
They need more time on OG. I think you really like max levels of power, blink on your heroes, Nimbus Cloud on Zeus. Before your team fight really started to become a little bit scary. Right now, with no PKPs out on the field, global silence is king.
Yeah, I mean they need to have a lot coming up from their 3 cores, right? Because Rubik and Nature's Prophet, they're not going to be able to contribute too much to the team fights versus what LGD has.
Especially when Eric has 0 points up in null field right now. He went for the 4 Faithful build. So team fights not really OG strong suit.
Radiant's bottom tower is
So
under
they will
attack.
be very content with trade towers. I think this definitely benefits OG at this point, especially when Seb is still farming about 700 gold away from Blink.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Once again with a rotation towards the middle lane, has RP available.
How early do you think Ame needs BKB?
I was wondering that as well. It depends on how much he wants to really be involved in all the fights with this team. I'm thinking here. He might just go for it as the next item though.
Can he rely on the run?
I don't think so. I don't think it's a good idea. It takes time for it to pass through you, right? So it's like...
But your Shaker, you have global silence, you have Shaker Blink. I think it might be worth taking. I mean, Ame, he's not the safest of carry player. As we saw last game, he went to Fusel before BKB very early on. So he has nothing in his quick buy yet. Just want to get a feel for his BKB timing.
Yeah.
They stop. They go. Global. They dive. Global to set up the jump in from FY. As Ana underneath the blue tower. Maybe they can get more as well as Chalice hides onto Jax. Deep from No-Tail, but Chalice commits with the lasso, dragging No-Tail away into the clutches of the rest of LGD as they'll surround him and find a second kill for Ame.
Exo was quietly taking by. He's like, yeah, give me all that int, 12 int already for him. Just sitting in the back, staying alive. That's what his job is.
And look at the change build coming out from maybe in this game. Not going for that Shadow Blade, actually just building a hood for his team. Well, for himself at least, for now. If he doesn't want to upgrade it, I don't know if he will. But
I think in the other games, they had BKB early, they won the team fights, and then late game, they actually got punished, I would say, for buying BKB so early. You know, switching around a little bit, and the Atos is already up for the Bat Rider, so that's another threat that the Ember Spirit needs to worry about. Normally he's like, okay, you know, Shaker, yeah, he has a blink, and there's global silence, but it should be okay most of the time. Now there's 3 heroes that can kill him.
Yep. And Ame is going for the greedy build, like we mentioned. He is going to go for that Yasha, since he has all those different forms of protection from his teammates.
A decent amount ahead as well. 15 minutes, 5k advantage. PSG LGD hitting all these timings, and on top of that hood, he's already 1200 towards the Shadow Blade. On this.
Should be that mid lane.
A look for the setup, straight from the torrent. They get the connection into the bow, but the Sleight of Fist actually going to be able to come out in time. It may not matter though, X-Nova's in, but the Remnants out. He'll get himself to safety, Ana.
What a great sleight.
Yeah, dodges everything there. During all this though, the wording
there's a blink
again.
coming out from Seb. Has it been... the Zerber was on the logo. They don't see this coming at all.
See if Seb can get a big jump. Chalice and FY rather close to one another at the moment as they hide behind that tower. Seb.
Look at FY's position though. He is so deep in the tree. Perfect place.
And they go. For Chalice, the chain catching the root. It's going to be down onto the Ember Spirit. Fisher as well onto Seb. And now that he's blink the urns as well as the curse. Seb's got to skew himself away. He cannot blink in.
It's not the way you want your blink dagger to go though.
He's trying to TP away. Is he going to get out? He is. No, he's not. He thinks down in base. As they'll find themselves as well. Global silence being used as they'll chase down the Rubik. 2 more kills for LGD. Thompson found in the river.
That was just perfect position coming out from FY over there. He was ready. Even if he had the RP, I don't think he would have been able to get the skewer off.
They are absolutely crushing this opening PSG LGD.
They're feeling very confident because they're looking and they're like, there's a Rubik and an Nature's Prophet on the team. The team fights are 100% in their favor. It's all going to be up to Seb if he can end those big RPs, but it's so hard, especially with all these wards. LGD always having vision in every situation before OG's even spin. That was OG's like best chance because it was not spotted.
And Zeus, normally he's pretty safe to go around D1. Not this game. He built a defensive item first on the Yules.
Look at
this. His offensive power, normally you have like Aetherlands fail at this point in the game. His team fight potential is simply not that great.
It's under attack.
So what do OG need to do? How do they win the team fight? How do they stall this game out? How do they wait for Empower, Ember Spirit to kind of take over the game?
I think they have to be able to play around the globe. They can't just be waiting every single time for LGD to have every single ulti available. They have to be able to use, they have to be pushing lanes out a lot harder as well, even risking some lives from each other to try to set up these gameplays. Because if they just wait for RP in every single fight, there's no way they're ever going to be able to outpace LGD. Because they're just going to have more team fucking occasions when RP is on cooldown.
Bottom lane. They're looking for the tab. Like TP's coming in. Can they kill him in time? Arme quick with the turn and the sunder. He's back up to full. As now Ana rooted down with the Rotovados. He gets the slide of fist off. They do have the control onto Arme. Can they kill him in time? Arme will fall, but so will Ana surely. He's got the flame guard giving him some resistance, but he'll still go down. Thompson fuels himself up into the air. They found two so far, but Thompson's brought back into the boat from Somnus. They'll get themselves a third. They'll look to No-Tail as No-Tail Fisher to the face from FY. As again, PSG LGD just coming out on top of these trades. OG tried to get aggressive onto Arme, but the backup's there in time from LGD as they'll take the favorable trade, 4-2.
I do think that's what OG needs to be doing though. They need to be trying to take these fights, even if they're a little over aggressive and all. They can't just allow LGD to wait and wait for their ultis to come up every single time, because now they've got Global and the Earthshaker ulti as well, which makes the fights impossible for OG.
No hesitation there from Arme as you saw with a quick sunder. Thompson able to get a decent amount of burst out, but it's just as soon as Somnus turns up the fight, he hits a huge tiebreaker, I believe, onto 3 of them there.
They didn't have the Magnus during all this though. You see Seb is trying to come into the fight, but they've already been outnumbered because of the position where they're in.
It's very typical for this Magnus. It looks like he wants to build a Greaves to deal with the global silence, but that means he's not going to have Shadow Blade. If they find it, they're instantly going to kill him. They're going to blow everything they can on Magnus. Without RP, they do not win the fight. Maybe they can steal. I mean, there's actually no huge spells to steal. You're not going to be able to steal Global Silence at this point. Echo is, so-so on a Rubik without Blink Dagger. So.
It's like Fissure and any of the, maybe the Kunkka. What's also significant if you can get it off, but...
Oh yeah, Kunkka is huge, but I don't think anything compares to the RP.
Yeah.
Bottom lane. No-Tail trying to set up onto Somnus. They're the boat's already out though for Somnus. Somnus trying to look at the trees. He's hunting actually down No-Tail. The global silence comes out and not quite able to get on top of X-Nova. As X-Nova keeps his distance, Somnus just turning and beating down on No-Tail. No-Tail will go down as well as X-Nova. 1-for-1 at the moment. The sentry's down here from OG. They have eyes on Somnus. Seb still holding him for the side. Then there'll be a buyback from No-Tail. The boat, the stolen boat, the RP coming through. They're jumping in the fight there with a slam, ready to hold on for the fight, but Chalice is so low. Chalice PSG OG, they've lost 3. FY with the TPL won't make it. The slide of fifth, the shake catches out the shaker. Can he TP back in time before the curse kills him? Yes, he can.
Well, that's exactly what you talked about, the stolen boat. The one buff on Ana just pushed them over the edge for the fight.
Literally at the perfect time too. The boat comes through as FY goes in, so that damage reduction comes into play immediately. That was huge.
What a fight for them to take there. You saw FY jumping in with a slam. If they'd have lost that fight, OG, it could have been just a little too much. 20 minutes in, they were falling far and far behind. No-Tail, I don't know if he meant to trap himself there. It looked like he tried to block them off between the two of them. I don't know if it would have saved him anyway, though, as they still find the kill. No-Tail taken down. We'll see this once again here.
Great steal. Boat right there, as we see. Immediate RP. Everything came out at the same time. It's like RP, Earthshaker ulti, as well as that ghost ship.
The boat gets on all 3 of them.
Yep.
And another great sight coming out from Ana. He dodged just that little bit of
damage. Look at that. The boat buff as well on Ana. If that wasn't there, everything sort of just coming into place for OG to be able to take that team fight. But still,
I don't think Ame was involved in that fight, though. So, Egypt, they're 45 sometimes, maybe on the Alchemist this time. with Ame on the Terrorblade, and he is looking to get involved very soon, about 300 gold away from his BKB. And I think that fight, also, they singled out the Silencer very early on, making him blow global, and then after that, with the RP.
Yeah. I think also it's like Ame didn't have meta available. Sometimes he does show up for the fights before the BKB, but now he's got both available, so this is good for LGD. Even if they, how long's their Echo? So Echo and Global are going to be up in about 20 seconds, so yeah, they're definitely ready to make a fight happen.
They're smoking, but Chalice does not have his blink that great. He has to go all the way back, so he's way further behind than the rest of his team.
So they can get the catch onto Anna. Fisher, jump ball from FY. They've got the chain stuck. Is there any way they can play his way out? The Global's coming through. The mech will be popped here. Xana's up into the air. Chalice looks around, but he gets the slide out. Could he get over to the Remnant as well? No. There's the jump, the RP. They'll get the kill onto Anna. Seb tries to skewer the two of them to the side, but now he's stuck on his own on the low ground. Arme's there on the high ground. Post the BKB. No messing around for this Terrorblade. As Arme will help take a second here for LGD.
That split was so good. Seb was just waiting for that RP, but he was only able to get one. He thought that they would all clump up around the Ember Spirit.
As they'll look to capitalize on this metamorphosis as much as possible. Straight into the pit they go.
Man, I'm really loving this Atos on the Bat Rider too. It's just making Ana's life that much more difficult in these fights. He's just having to use the slight to try to buy some time while he's inside that Atos, but then he comes back still controlled.
Well, OG may be looking to fight. There is no Remnant out for on the Ember Spirit.
Do get X-Nova on the side of an FY. He jumps in with the Echo Slam. Jarrett's is going to be the telekinesis, but already they've lost Notel. In the X mark, it's there onto Thompson. He'll use himself up. He will be able to keep himself away. Somnus is hunting though. The Thunder God's Wrath comes through. Let's see Somnus. LGD straight back towards the FY. He's losing that fight. The Roshan will smoke his way out.
They need a shrine really fast. Ana going to see this Roshan. 20%. Did they really want to leave it there?
It's so low.
No RP up.
No meta on LGD either, but they've got their both. They've got the strong and Kunkka.
And Lasso's almost up too. This is time for Chalice to shine. They have vision.
FY. They don't get the Fisher out in time for Jerax to catch FY. Somnus. Chalice there in the pit. He tried to avoid his step, but instantly FY's there with the reaction. The enchant totem's down. Seb's been cursed. X-Nova trying to go for it. They do manage to get the chains out. Right at the courier actually being taken down here, but they've lost one. They've lost two. They've lost three. Buybacks coming out from the two of them. OG, they've got the double kill for Anna. They're pushing LGD away from this pit. X-Nova does not have buyback. Roshan still stands.
Only 12 seconds left for Global. LG kind of need to reset, but the Roach is so low.
They have nearly got RP back up on Seb. That's both teams ready to fight around the pit. Seb, can he find a chance with the RP? Chalice on the high ground. They're going to head into the pit, OG. They're confident, knowing Seb can sit there on the high ground, ready with the counterplay. Arme getting sprouted. Chalice looks to make a play, jumps in, immediately going for it with the lasso. Has he got the control to get the damage out? He can. Diana dead, but Anna buys back straight away. Arme moving in with the BKB. Roche has life throughout this all. They've lost Thompson. The slide, the change, the Remnant across. They'll get the kill onto Chalice. But now Anna, he's in the middle of it all. Uses himself up. The Flame Guard ticking FY down. Like the slide of the RP. Seb, he's got the control onto Arme. As OG, they fight through him. Look towards Somnus surrounding him in the pit. Somnus, he'll go down as well. The buyback from Anna, securing the here for OG. There's only X-Nova left alive, but not for long. They chase him, they get the team-wide triple kill for Anna as he buys back, plays his way back over into the pit, secures OG the team fight and himself the Aegis.
Now they have the huge offensive power with the level 4 empower and the offensive null field coming out from the thing. Now they're just much damage. They have the hood on the Kunkka, but that's not saving anyone at all. He has a lot of HP. He's going towards Heart build, but terrible versus Zeus.
And Jerax during all of this had Fissure, constantly throwing those fissures in through the backlines. Seb able to find the opportunity, dies. Global doesn't connect on, it connects on everybody, not in the best situation though, because they were all split up. Somnus was stuck in the pit there for a while. And with all this wards on the high ground too, they were able to see whatever approach that FY wanted to take and into doing. So he was getting controlled on the Shaker.
Ember's getting a lot of items out. He fought back, but I think he definitely came out on top there. And keep in mind, this is amplified by that power.
If he's able to get that link and see, he's going to be so much safer. This Yule pickup has saved him time and time again in these fights. With that link and see, he has a lot more liberty.
I think they need a BKB on the Bat Rider too. He went for the Atos with his Blink Dagger, and it slows down his BKB even more.
Yeah, I'm surprised Omnis didn't go for the BKB either, going just for that straight hard. I mean, he loves the item.
Oh, no sound. TP straight in here, right by the shrine.
Fisher stolen.
They do, they've got the setup onto FY. In comes Anna with the remnant, the slide. A fist to find FY. OG, they're seeing if they can find more.
Arcane Rune on Ember Spirit. No way they take this fight.
Seb, and you get the jump and they've got the Yules up onto X-Nova. Anna, able to walk in, close the gap onto the silencer. As OG taking 2 down, now leading in this game. 4K net worth advantage for the side and still an Aegis.
Look at the experience drop too. It was both about 5K for LGD as OG made a huge turnaround.
We do have the Blink Dagger on the Terrorblade for LGD so that he can blink it, but I mean, the reflection is not great here at all. It's actually one of the worst reflection games that I've seen. So
yeah,
if he goes in and blinks, it's not super scary, and there's a ton of right click coming up from Ember Spirit with the BKB piercing disable with the Magnus. So I don't know. I'm not confident in this Terrorblade being able to take over this team lane.
I think they're just trying to, the 3 different Blink Daggers to start the fight with that global and just try to blow up and get on top of that Zeus right away. Get into that backline. I mean, the Rubik and the Zeus are really starting to be quite an issue for them.
Chalice, he's in with the opener, straight in with the lasso. The tower will fall, but they'll drag back the Ember Spirit into the torrent. Cut him down with the Tidebringer. He's dead, but on the side, they find Arme. Arme's dead for 60. Still alive at the moment. Oh, the Yules!
Still gets done!
Anna up into the end, dodging the Echo Slam. Somnus, he's trapped here. Sprout, OG, they'll slowly punch down the hookah. The stolen Vision Jerax sets up onto FY. OG take 3 and up into the base. 28 minutes in. OG are threatening the high ground of PSG LGD. This tier 3 tower going down, no buyback on FY, no buyback on May.
Ame just getting caught in the back line to that fight, and then that Yule Scepter on
Yeah, it's way too many defensive abilities at this point. Yeah, especially with Jerax. I mean, they started the fight on FY at the Fissure, and after that, nearly impossible to kill Ana.
I mean, Jerax has been getting literally the most ideal steals in the last few situations. They got the Ghost Ship these last 2 fights where he's just had Fissure every single time for his team.
And he doesn't exactly know when to use global. There's not exactly like greatest point because they're not initiating with the Magnus. Ana's jumping in. Ana's done. He's the one that's starting off the fight, and you don't really want to global because they have the Greaves up now on the Magnus. They have the Yule on the Spear, so he can protect himself from that.
They've got the full axe on Zeus.
Yeah, this is
everything is coming together.
Just took that one Roche.
Yep. I mean, we're getting around. Everybody just picked up a full set of items. Getting close to a Lotus Orb now on the Furion 2. On the Nature's Prophet. They've got the Guardian Greaves going for that pipe, and on Seb, just everybody has acquired so much after that last situation.
And FY in particular has slowed down. He had what, 12-minute Blink Dagger?
Yep.
Since then, he's picked up an over axe. That's it. In 17 minutes.
And OG's they're looking to fight here. They feel strong. They know that this Echo Slam is still on cooldown.
How long till RP is back up? RP's there, they look for the setup onto Arme, they get the chains onto him, jump forward, Sam! Oh, the RP's just on the tip to him, but it's not enough to kill him. As Arme, the turnaround pass to Anna's able to remnant onto the Chalice hiding in the trees. Thompson starting to throw out the lightning as Arme, Chalice backing away, skewer forward for Seb as he clears out the trees. Chalice still with the fire, getting himself away, will jump himself away from the Nimbus, backs himself up. X-Nova's got to be careful, he's incredibly low. They're looking to set up with the Torrent. Arme, he's been sprouted. The stolen Fisher from Jerax, out to Arme, but they're fighting with the slam. Is it enough? No, it's not. LGD, they've lost 2 again, but they have managed to find 2 in return. Anna's still alive, the Flame Guard keeping it back again. The Slide of Fist cuts down a second double kill for Anna. Alice surrounded by 7 Anna here in the trees as OG get the team wipe.
Anna's been unbelievable with these Slide of Fist.
Oh, Anna Ember Spirit game that over the years we saw it before he had his break, and now back here at the International 2018, he's doing what we've seen him do many times before.
And OG's ready to keep going. They know that pretty much everything's expended by LGD. The meta's on cooldown, the global's on cooldown, the echo's on cooldown. It's their time to shine.
Straight down the mid lane they go. Somnus dead for 40 seconds. The Kunkka does not have buyback for this defense.
they're having to use the Echo to keep Ana down, and that is not what you want from your team fight. And Ana's not even dying in these fights.
That's a tier 3 tower gone.
Even for this next fight, JerAx actually stole Ghost Ship at the end of it. So he has this available.
There's a full pipe now, and there's the setup, the Nimbus bam, the stop X number buys back, but OG have taken a second melee Rax hit and a second range Rax. 20 net worth lead at 31 minutes.
They still want to keep going.
They absolutely do.
They know everything's still on cooldown.
Check the RP timing, it's nearly there again. It is. It's back up.
This could be the last hurrah for LGD here now as OG has pushed this game.
And they're forced to go full defensive items on LGD because they've just been dying constantly in these fights, and there's this Zeus just throwing out tremendous damage output. And on the flip side, you have Seb. He's not forced to go BKB. He can go full team fight items with the Greaves and the Pipe. That goes all the way to Ana not dying.
LGD will have some time at least, not have that last Rax be pushed. They will have all their abilities available again, but heavily on the back foot now to see that gold advantage and that network, that experience advantage heavily in OG's favor.
They're in a really tough spot right now. If they jump on him with everything and he has Remnant out and he buys back, they're all dead and they lose the game and the international. So I don't exactly know what LGD's plan is here to try and win the next fight. Maybe Magnus because he can't be there in the fight. Maybe jump the Zeus, but I don't think jumping Ember will win this fight.
If somehow jump the Ember and not have to use absolutely everything to kill him, then that's going to be the dream. But it's been proven to be so hard versus Ana as he's just played this in such a good way.
And JerAx still has.
Here we go. OG with the smoke.
Got all the momentum pushing in from those waves.
They power down the mid lane. Thompson and Ana leading the charge. Somnus on the front at the moment. He's back up to the high ground. PSG LGD playing careful, making sure to not get jumped up. As OG hide in the shadows, waiting to pounce. PSG LGD won't fall for this one as of yet.
But they're getting suffocated. They're not able to walk outside of the base at all.
No tap. Oh, he drops the ward, but the sentry was down. They knew he was there. They'll catch him hiding in the tree. So now with the Nature's Prophet gone for 85, PSG LGD can relax a little bit more.
But Roshan's almost up. They have Scout as soon as it comes up. And LGD, I don't think they can take a fight if they have the Aegis.
Yep, I think they have to contest that next Roshan.
Super obvious now that the mid wave isn't been touched, and even more obvious.
And now they know.
They know exactly where they are, and OG are nowhere to be found, and sadly, Roshan's not even up.
And gets hit by the Nemesis as well, so. And a scan from on top.
Oh, there's an arcane root on the Zeus. That is one of the worst possible scenarios for LGD.
Oh, and a full Octarine on Ana.
Octarine on Ana, good controlling this Ember Spirit now. Level 23 as well. As Ana charges in, he finds himself to change. The boat is going to head over towards his wave, but he uses up. His Linkers has been popped, set, goes with the RP, dragging back the Kunkka. Can they kill off Somnus? He's very tactical with that heart. It looks like he'll be fine. They'll get the challenge jump with the lasso onto the Ember Spirit, the FY Echo as well onto Ana. Can they actually kill him off? They don't have the damage. Ana's able to get the Sleight of Fist out. There'll be a buyback from Thompson as JerAx. Solo Fisher onto 2. Sets up for the double kill. Ana. He's found 2, and OG looking for more. Seb trying to hunt down Som. The dust upon him. Seb's got the skewer, he's got the blink up. Can he peel him back towards his teammates? He can't quite catch him. Somnus will be able to back up and no tell. He's in with the Sprout, the chains. The setup's there. Ana closing in. He'll be forced to the side. And he gets back to the fountain. He'll turn. He'll clean out the summons there with the Tidebringer hit. But he's stuck in the tree line. Ana just going for the kill. Is Somnus still alive? They get themselves now a bigger target. Arme. He's sprouted. He has got something. Can he get it off? He can't. Arme cut down. As the tier 4s now being taken by OG. There's still the diving in with the chalice. It's another down. OG, can they get Somnus? He's doing his best to hold 10 seconds before he's got teammates back in Seb. Healing Somnus away from the fountain. Ana's on top of it. Somnus down to half health. He's trying to retrieve with the chains. They get themselves another Somnus taken down. Zame with a BKB reflection. Anna starting to be forced back. They have got X-Nova and FY back in the game now. No Echo Slam or Global. The Ancient is exposed. As OG, the Nimbus, and the shockwave from Seb gets themselves another to the Ancient. OG! OG have done it. They have done of flowers and friendship. I've done it here, ladies and gentlemen. Your grand champions of TIA. I've done it here, ladies and gentlemen. Your grand OG 18, tipped by some to be the 18th most likely to. Can you believe it? OG 18, tipped by some to be the 18th most likely to win TI, and they've just gone and won it.
They don't believe it. You look at the booth, they look
They've
stunned.
just gone and done it.
That was
a team that was shaken up. Months before this event.
They just reformed this team.
Thompson, he's only been playing for a couple of days.
His earnings were $3,000 before this.
Oh my goodness. OG.
Congratulations.
OG.
To OG. They deserved it. They played out of their mind. This entire tournament, they didn't follow anyone else's strategy. Maybe that was a stepping stone. They just played their own game, and it was miraculous.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, OG, your TIA
Wow. What a game and what a match. OG have
You're so blessed. Thompson, $3,000 in your pocket. You come to TI, you get an email from Notel, you're a TI champion. What? I wish we could keep going, but go get the Aegis. It's yours. Rogers Arena. Cinderella's story ain't got nothing on this! OG! Your TIA champion! pool in esports history from the Open qualifier. An absolutely beautiful moment. You'll see more from them at the Queen Elizabeth Theatre tonight. Chobra, I think the crowd is saying it all.
Indeed. OG, that's all we can hear here in the Rogers Arena. And they've done it. They've completed the Cinderella story. And better than that as well. I mean, on our panel, we have Trent Nahaza-Sheaver, and the story couldn't have gotten any better than this.
It's such a beautiful sight. The friends and family all there, up to congratulate them on something that you work for all year, every hour of your day, sweating into that Dota.
It's...
And that's what it's for. That right there.
This is OG's moment.
I would not have picked them as a favorite for a single series they played at TI.
No.
And somehow they did it.
No. What an incredible, incredible run. Obviously incredible here in Vancouver, but a couple months back, they were left stranded. Oh. And then here they are.
3 months ago, almost to the day.
Yeah.
It was May 27th when this team, labeled one of the most disappointing teams of the DPC season, having lost what most consider to be the best free agent pickup on the market, were shattered. They lost their 4-time major winning captain. They lost one of the most storied players in the game's history in S4. And here they are, not even 3 months later, on the stage, the greatest Cinderella story in the history of Dota 2.
Immortality.
That hug.
That says it all on how much this team wanted it, how much No-Tail wanted it, but as well all members of the team, and not just the players. I mean, you saw it as it ended, and there you have it, Rogers Arena, your champions, OG, here at the International 2018, lifting up the Aegis of Champions. No one would have thought that this was the chant we were going to hear today at this time, but wow. Wow.
Sebastian had retired to become a coach and is like, well, you know what? I want to be back. I want to be a player.
After all these years.
And here he is. This is No-Tail's 6th DI.
Unbelievable.
And he was together with the same group of people, and they were so close. They were doing so well. They've had so many amazing runs, just as the OG brand as well. Last TI, 7th, 8th. And here they are.
Yeah, none of that matters anymore.
Ooh.
Ladies and gentlemen, once more in the Rogers Arena for OG. And OG get to write the very last chapter of the International 2018. I mean, this is an incredible story, and you can take so many angles on it. But you know, whether you focus on individual players or the team or how the DPC worked out, all of it, none of it pointed to this moment, Trent.
It just, it felt like one of those runs where, you know, eventually it's got to run out of gas, right? Like, it reminds me almost the exact opposite of Wings, where it's like, all right, who's going to match up with these guys? Who's going to finally do it? They look unstoppable. No one can beat them. Then Wings win. These guys, it's the exact opposite. It's like, okay, yeah, they won that one, but what about the next one? Okay, what about the next one? And they just refuse, never say die.
It just goes to show you, sometimes the clock doesn't strike midnight. sometimes the party goes on.
There you have it. The party goes on for OG, and of course for everyone here in Vancouver. You can head on down to the Queen Elizabeth Theater for the special edition of the Late Game Show to celebrate with none other than OG, your TI8 champions. But right now, we want to check in with Casey, who's out there with the fans.
So much emotion out here in the crowd, you guys. Not only excitement, but I could kind of feel everybody shedding a little bit of a tear when we saw them hoist the Aegis. What did you think of that last match?
It was unbelievable. They deserve congratulations. I thought they were dead.
Yeah.
I'm just so proud of Anna. He pulled it through. It was 10 out of 10.
I kept hearing the casters say his name, and I thought, oh my God, this might be happening.
It was so good. He's a pro.
Lean on down here. You're making a heart symbol. You said you were near tears, weren't you?
Yeah, it was a crazy back and forth series. You couldn't ask for a better TI. Thank you, TI8.
This really represents, I think, that match, what we just saw here. This represents what TI is all about, but also what Dota 2 is all about, right? It's just the most intense, amazing plays in front of an international audience, and boy, did they deliver, right? Thank you guys so much for having us. This has been a fantastic TI Chobra. I know that you guys have been on the edge of your seats the entire time, too.
Yeah, we were so excited with the fans. I mean, we've been kind of standing out here in the arena to feel it with everyone else in here to really take in the moment as we wrap up this crazy story called the International 2018. Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again, a reminder, if you're here in Vancouver, please join us at the Late Game Show at the Queen Elizabeth Theater. And also, you can check out OG on their walkout as now champions on the red carpet outside the stadium. So please go celebrate and congratulate your new winners as they carry the Aegis of Champions. And with that, that is the last chapter of TI8. We thank you all who have tuned in from home and everyone here in Vancouver who have come out to enjoy some great Dota with us. We'll see you next time.
Just goes on his own back and Thompson gets the light shot, but he still goes down. They get it in, straight in. They get the 2 and then the slam. Now make that 3 is Anna. Jumped on by FY. Simpson. EX against Somnus with the Puka play. The GG is core. To the high ground, goes to the TP, the Sunray. The solid from the spin though, the taunt, the sunstrike, he gets the dunk off. The snowball save wasn't in time, and Jarex, he's in with the tether. OG, Vision, can he escape in time? Chalice, oh, the set, he's in. The call, the epic, the cannonball, and FY is in. He's just so tanky, box the Shiva Sky.